Hello everyone and welcome to another My Team episode, and we're back straight away with daily uploads and daily My Team content, trying to finish the season before F1 22 gets released next week. So first of all then, let's address the obvious. If you haven't seen the previous episode, go check it out, a link up in the top right as always. Before we jump into any potential spoilers, in the background you can see me going through the activities for the weekend, and also we have a facility flooding event on the chassis side of things, which isn't ideal. I went ahead and went for the more expensive and safe solution just to make sure that gets resolved. And with that said, we can now move into Singapore, the first time in a few years we've been racing here. Confirmation of Esteban Ocon announcing his retirement at the end of this season. And yeah, if you guys are going to enjoy this one, then leave a like as always. The support has been mental lately, I've got to say, so let's try and smash over 1,000 likes on this one if possible. And also, if you're new to the channel, then consider subscribing, as we're very close to the new game release and I'm going to be all over that, so do get subscribed as you'll be enjoying the content I'll be putting out very shortly, and hopefully you guys are looking forward to it as well. Nonetheless then, let's jump into qualifying here at Singapore. Like I said before, a couple of times, we've raced here in the past, but it hasn't been a frequent venue on the My Team calendar, partly because it's a very long race and also not the most entertaining. But I thought for the final season, again, we'd switch it up and go to some tracks we haven't really raced at that often, and this is one of them. So in the background you have my modified Monaco setup for this one, and we're going to jump into Q1 and get into the action. So straight away in Sector 3, making our way through the sequence of chicanes at the end of the lap, trying to see if I can set a decent banker to save a set of tyres, but unfortunately right at the last corner I just went a bit too aggressive on the inside curb, cut it and invalidated, so not ideal. It was a decent lap to be fair, but we threw it away, so I then went for a cool down lap and then a second push. I had enough fuel for 2 laps. You can see here right now we're out by quite a few seconds, as the delta is from the last lap, which was the cool down lap, as again we make another mistake, this time losing a right front end plate when the lap was going really well up until that point, and now we're struggling massively with understeer, and we're going to try and finish the lap and see if it's enough, but I think the damage is a bit too much and we're bleeding a bit too much time, and we set a 33.0, which is only good enough for P16. With that said, I went back to the pits. I put on the same set of tyres actually, so we're using the same tyres again for a third lap, and we're about 10 to 12% tyre wear at this point. All I had to do was just set a safe lap. I didn't have to push, overcommit, and I was 2 tenths down compared to my best lap, but then of course the part where the damage came in, we recovered all that lap time and we moved up a few places. The question, was it enough to move out of Q1? The answer is yes, and we finish in P11. Aitken P2 behind Lando Norris with a 31.8, and we move into Q2 comfortably with, a less than smooth Q1, but still job done for us, and into Q2. Now then, speaking of which, Q2 started off pretty decently up until the halfway point of the lap when I encountered some traffic in the form of Zhou Guanyu, and we've also got another car ahead of us, that is Jack Aitken, our teammate. We'll see if he gets in the way. He's a little bit far away at the moment, but he might become a distraction later on in this sector if we're not careful. In the meantime, we're trying to see if I can set a decent first lap here. The target is to get below a sub 1 minute 32, so if we get that, I'm pretty confident of the lap, as Aitken goes into the pit lane, so he's going to get out of our way. Through the final corner we go, up to the line, and it's a 31.4. It's a massive lap, and we go P1 straight to the top on our first Q2 run. I then went back to the pits. I saw I didn't have to go back out again, whereas everybody else did, and we're just going to run down the clock. You can see we've got P1 wrapped up, 3 tenths clear of Giovinazzi, but at the end of Q2, Giovinazzi went on to set a 31.0, which I think is a bit of a bugged lap time from the time simulation where the game simulates the qualifying results, because that is a lap that I don't think is going to get matched in this qualifying. So yeah, Aitken also threw in P9, so both cars into Q3. Speaking of which, this was my first attempt. Fresh set of tyres, and we're going to see if we can set a decent banker again here as we make our way Through turns 1, 2 and 3, we just run outside of the white line and make a silly mistake there, picking up some understeer and not really what I wanted for my first run, especially because we absolutely nailed the first sector. It was my best one of the weekend. Nonetheless, we cooled off the tyres a little bit and went for a second consecutive lap as I had enough fuel left on board the car for another push. Into turn 1, 2, 3 again. Second time around though, you'll see here, it wasn't as great and we're down by 2/10 already. It really wasn't that great of a first sector, and it just goes to show how great the first attempt was. Making our way now though through Raffles Boulevard as we spot the braking for sector 1. We're still purple, even with a 2/10 deficit over the previous lap. Into sector 2 now though, this is where I backed off on my previous attempts, and now we're starting to push and find the lap time. Leaning up against the wall, starting to flirt with the barriers and get really close. Now into turn 10, right over the curve, nice and aggressive, in fourth gear now through this little chicane section, over the Anderson Bridge, into the turn 12 hairpin. Just about got the apex, try to get the exit down as we open DRS, and now along the back straight down to turn 14, third gear. Didn't quite catch the apex, but we do get a really good exit and drive out of there as we now head into the chicanes in sector 3. Right left followed up by a left right underneath the bridge. Try to not hit the walls at any point during the sequence, and then one more final right left chicane as we bump over the curbs using the soft springs and the soft suspension and the high ride height. And then the final corner, nice and aggressive, carrying the speed as we cross the line and set a 31.4, matching our Q2 lap and going provisional pole. But we had one more set of tyres left, and with 40 seconds left on the clock, we're going to try for one more lap. So down to turn 1, fifth gear down to fourth briefly, trying to get the rotation much cleaner through here, but again we run a bit wide at turn 3, and I have to basically get off the throttle and lose momentum and bleed off speed, which meant I actually lost a bit of time and didn't really maximize the first sector. However, the lap is still legal and we're a 10th up, so let's keep pushing and see if we can extend our lead. Into sector 2, we're only up by, I believe, half a tenth or a tenth right now over Verstappen, so it's pretty close. But then through turn 7, we just clip the barrier and get wing damage. So right now, we've done what we can. Luckily, nobody else improved. The man that was closest to us was Max Verstappen on a 31.5, and it wasn't enough. So, job done in qualifying. Giovinazzi and Norris on the second row. Aitken and Ricciardo, the number 2 drivers, on row number 3. So, there's your lot. Aitken stepping up in qualifying, to be fair, doing a pretty decent job, putting in a decent shift. And we get both cars in the top 5. We're on pole here at Singapore by a 10th. I do believe we could have maybe done like a 31.2, 31.1 at an absolute push. But you know what? We'll take that. That is a great lap, great pole. And considering it was a scruffy qualifying for us, I'm glad we delivered. So yeah, guys, that's it for qualifying. We're now going to move into the race.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Martinez lines up on pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Giovinazzi, Norris, Jack Aitken and Ricciardo, Gasly, Leclerc, Bottas and George Russell, Ocon, Stroll, Nicholas Latifi and Lundgaard, Joe, Tigtum, Robert Schwartzman and Nobuharu Matsushita, Eilert, Mazepin, Tsunoda. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty, and Mick Schumacher. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Now we've gone from Monza, which is the quickest F1 race on the calendar, to Singapore, the longest, and we have 31 laps of hell ahead of us as we get ready for the race. Starting from pole after a great qualifying yesterday, Verstappen, of course, is right behind us, and we've got our work cut out. So, strategy for this race is going to be a one-stop. Even though the game says two-stop, we're going to go on the softs, go as long as we can, get onto the hard tyre, and go to the end. Similar to other circuits where the one-stop is favourable, The plan here is to try and extend the first stint. The longer you go, the more cars you can clear that are on the alternate strategy. So that means the less cars you have to overtake or get stuck behind when you eventually pit. So the longer we stay out, the better. And if we can save our tyres a bit, that would also be a bonus. Fuel-wise, I'm going to go with minimum. Fuel saving shouldn't be an issue around here. And even if it is, we've got plenty of time to recover the fuel. So let's get into it. Let's see what happens. Tyre temps are going to be an issue, I think, on the soft tyre. But once we go to the hard, everything should be fine. Leave a like if you're going to enjoy it, and let's get into it. Okay, let's do it. Let's hopefully have a decent start. 5 laps are on. And we're underway. Oh yes, excellent start. We're going to cover the inside straight away here as Max goes to the outside. But we'll keep him at bay. Giovinazzi trying to get by. And sub with Verstappen right now in the battle for P2. Absolutely perfect for us. Let's try and break away and break DRS. Looks like Verstappen has just got ahead of Giovinazzi for now, but that battle isn't over yet. We've already got the 1 second gap though, which is precious to us as we break away into the second sector. Hopefully Aitken can do a good job in this race and fingers crossed outscore Ricciardo if possible. It looks like Max has got clearance over Giovinazzi now and is back on the chase. So we'll see how that works out. For now though, we're looking pretty decent. Tyre management is going to be key this race, especially on the soft tyre like I mentioned in the intro. So trying to not overheat, trying to push the tyres too hard and only in the key moments. I don't think we're going to break the 1 second barrier with Verstappen, I'll be honest. But that's okay. I'm just going to try and build my confidence up and hopefully by the end of it we've got the gap we need. Here we go, lap 3. Gap is about to be a 1 second gap.
DRS is being enabled this lap. We can use DRS when you are within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
Max is keeping the pressure on though and is trying to hang on to DRS. I'm trying to break it. It's going to be close, but I think Verstappen will just hang on. Pace seems okay in a minute, even though Max has the fastest lap. I'm just kind of managing my rear tyres a little bit. But this is game on. It feels like me and Max are just going to drive away from the rest of the field this race. Okay, we might have just broken DRS with Verstappen there. Let's see. Looks like he's not really pulling me back on the straight, so we may have just done that. Let's try now these first 3 corners and hopefully Max won't have it for the back straight. I think we're going to be okay. Here we go. Officially breaking DRS, and now let's kind of see what the real pace is. Can Verstappen hold on? Very strong pace there from both of us so far. We're just dropping the rest of the pack easily. What the hell was that?
No need to worry about tyre condition for now. Everything's looking good.
Got lucky there, whatever the hell that was. Some kind of weird bump. Luckily I cast it in one piece. Okay, Verstappen pits, there we go. Keep an eye on the minimap. You can see the gaps to the cars from P3 downwards. We'll get a much better understanding as to where the race is. Ricciardo and Aitken stay out. Verstappen goes for the medium, which suggests a 2-stop. We're looking at the 1, of course, with the hard tyre. So the gap to Latifi currently 13 seconds. Well, Ocon 13 seconds. That's what we're looking at, really. We're trying to race those cars on the alternate strategy. So I'm going to keep staying out and just driving away until I feel the gap is no longer really increasing, and then we'll just box.
Jack is in the pits. Jack in the pits.
Aitken in the pit lane along with Ricciardo. Disappointing, really. I was hoping Jack would go for the 1 stop, but the AI don't have that intelligence. Anyway, we're going to look to box soon, I think. Gap is still increasing to Ocon, but I've realised Verstappen's in clean air. It's all going to come down to this traffic and how we clear it. The more cars we clear, the better for us. So we'll stay out for a bit longer. Try and see if I can clear Lundgaard and whoever's around him. Just realised there's a Red Bull leaving the pit exit right now. If that's Max, oh my god, if we win this race and Max has another non-points finish, I think that's it. I think the championship could be over, if not very, very close to being over. But there's a Red Bull. I want to see who that is. You guys would have seen it on a replay bar now. First warning for track limits. We're going to box this lap now. Tyres are starting to drop off a little bit. Okay, let's box and get our 1 and only stop out of the way. I've got a front wing change selected if necessary. If there's any minor damage. But let's go into the pit lane, nice and easy. No need to speed, we've got nothing to race for. There's no pressure from behind. We should be able to rejoin comfortably in net P1, but behind Lundgaard, Schwartzman, Zhou Guanyu and whoever's in that pack of cars. We're going to be racing them, to be fair. Giovinazzi is on the hunt, chasing them down, so it'll be close. We should be a couple of seconds ahead of Gio.
Go now.
3.1, not the best stop, but we're going to rejoin at the back of this pack behind Mick Schumacher.
Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound.
He usually does it on the pit exit as Giovinazzi makes his way down to turn 1. So Gio has pulled off a pretty decent undercut, but we've got a 2-second gap, 1.5 second gap over him, so we're okay. Fresh, hard tyres. Get them up to temperature really quickly and then just drive off and hopefully control the race from this point onwards. With Verstappen nowhere to be seen, Aitken pits as well.
Jack is coming in for his stop.
I wonder if Jack got damaged because he was behind.
There's been an incident on track resulting in loose debris. Fortunately, the marshals have managed to clear it up in time and there are no plans for a safety car right now.
Literally on cue as I was saying, Jack was behind Giovinazzi, Norris, Bottas. Bottas has dropped off a little bit and Aitken has pitted for damage, so looks like issues for the second car. Anyway, I'm going to crack on here because Gio's closing in and I don't like it. Let's try and pull away if we can. Struggling to shake Giovinazzi off eventually, though. We have now broken the DRS 1 second barriers. All the cars pit. Personal best, only by a fraction, but you know, we managed to improve slightly and also clear Giovinazzi, who isn't letting go of this. Lundgaard and Schwartzman should be in at the end of this lap, thus giving us P1 back once again. And there we go, Schwartzman, Lundgaard both pit. And we're back into the lead of this race. Lovely stuff. Right, let's try and manage it now. Just keep Giovinazzi out of DRS range until he eventually pits for a second time. And then we're going to be left on our own, dare I say, with an opportunity to box for an extra point and a fastest lap. Right then, fuel update. We're pretty much on target now. We'll save what we need through these first 3 corners to get positive. So we've done our fuel saving for the race. Just managing tyres at this stage. Giovinazzi getting caught up by Lando. Lando looks like he's making a move for P2. These guys should be in any moment because Gasly has now pit and so has Leclerc. So I'm assuming Giovinazzi and Norris will follow through on the next lap. So yeah, then we'll be left alone out front. And there we go, as expected, Giovinazzi and Norris do pit. So Ocon is going to be net P2, or actually no, tell a lie, he's got to stop again. So I don't even know who's net P2 in this race now. Probably Giovinazzi to be fair, and Norris. Late call, but I'm going to box this lap.
Understood, stopping this lap.
I want to get some mediums on and try and go for the fastest lap. I don't feel like I'm going to get it with these tyres, so we'll box now and cover our lead. But crucially, get a fresh set of mediums on and hopefully be able to set the fastest lap. Lost a bit of time to Gio on that in lap, but I think I should still be in P1. Norris has just got back up to net P2 behind him. Ocon, I believe, has to stop again. It's going to be close with Gio, but we should be okay.
Exit now.
That would definitely help. A 1.8 pit stop. My God, that is perfect.
Up to speed now. Let's get some heat into those tyres.
Here comes Gio. It's going to be close. That 1.8 stop just made the difference. And we're just that ahead. So there we go. Now we can try and go for a fastest lap. Had that been like a 2.7, we would be behind Giovinazzi right now. So shout out to the pit crew, delivering a great stop under pressure, last minute with no prior warning. Let's get P1 back from Ocon, and then let's try and go for that fastest lap. Excellent first sector without DRS going purple. But we've now caught up to Ocon, so we have to look for a way past the Frenchman in the Alpine. And then Giovinazzi will have to do the same. We've got a yellow flag on the pit straight. One of the Mercedes cars slowing down, which should be Bottas, because Norris is behind us. Let's see if that triggers a late twist in the tail in this race. I'm going to see if I can try and get Ocon before the retirement gets confirmed. Maybe not. Through the hairpin we go. Can we get Ocon here on this straight? It would be nice. To the outside we go. Ocon runs it in a bit deep, and I have to be careful to not go into the wall, but we still find the space and traction up beautifully. I go around the outside, have to outbrake myself a little bit to make the move stick, but we're through and back into P1. Let's see if this lap is also going to be our fastest lap, because even though we've lost a bit of time battling, we are up on our PB. Lando did just set the fastest lap, so we'll see if I can take it back. If not, we'll get on the next lap.
Caution, caution.
Right, let's clear Bottas and go for a fastest lap. Oh no.
Caution, the virtual safety car has just been deployed due to a buildup of debris on the track.
So
Some
Guan Yu
information
out of the
on
race.
Zhou. They've got a serious car issue. It looks like they're retiring.
Oh my god, it's a full safety car. Thank god we stopped.
There have been further incidents out on the track, so the officials are moving to a full safety car.
Well, it's a good thing we stopped for the medium. That's going to help us nicely. But anyway, safety car fades. Let's get into it. So Ocon's going to pit. Dare I say, possibly rejoin in P4. Schwartzman is running P5, net P5 I think. So he's going to hold on to that. Possibly get P4 if he gets Ocon in the pits. Aiken's miles back. So is Verstappen. And here's the safety car. Right, let's get through this phase.
Approaching the safety car, you're leading, so don't pass it. Stay behind the safety car.
Nope, we won't. We'll behave. Don't worry, Jeff. I can see the Red Bulls running one behind the other into turn 1, 2, 3. So they're definitely in the points. Maybe like P8, P9, something like that. Right, 6 laps to go when we cross the line. Safety car in this lap. We're currently just controlling the pace. Tires are going to go cold, man, but I can't really do much about that. I'm trying to see if I can get a bit of separation with the safety car, but since we're on the limiter now, I can't wheel spin the rears, which is really annoying, so we're going to lose rear tyre temp. Anyway, first order of business is to try and get the 1 second gap and open up DRS from Giovinazzi, so let's get ready for the restart here. Any moment now, wait for it. Let's go. Oh, rears are cold, my god.
Green flag.
That's what I mean about not being able to wheel spin the rears. Luckily we hold on to our lead. Let's try and push as much as we can. As Giovinazzi went up the inside of turn 3 there. No idea what the hell that was, but that's cost him time, so let's try and drive off if we can. Here we go. This should be a new personal best. Across the line. And it's a fast lap as well. 34.0. A lot of battling going on behind, of course, with the slower cars in the form of Schwartzman and Lundgaard. But there is your top 5. So Giovinazzi P2, Norris P3, Gasly P4, Ricciardo P5. And I believe Verstappen is in P6. Wow, Schwartzman takes away our fastest lap in the Williams. Damn, I didn't think that would be the case. This should be a new fastest lap. Used up all my battery reserves as we run up to the line. 33.3, there we go. What a lap that was. That was pretty much perfect. Found time in all 3 sectors. Now we can cruise it home and hopefully secure the extra point. Here we go, last lap of the race. Last sector, just cruising the car home. Take it easy. I was really hoping to have a nice clean race, and that's exactly what we got. I wouldn't say dominated, but we had a few moments where we had to, be careful, be wary of getting overtaken. But it's been under control the whole time, and this is going to be a massive win for us and our fastest lap.
Awesome driving today. That's 4 race wins in a row.
A nearly flawless performance here then, and a commanding victory. Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today. What set them apart from the rest?
Well, they played the safety car to absolute perfection. There are so many factors to worry about once the race is neutralised. I mean, do you pit for fresh rubber? Do you have the space behind you? How much fuel can you save? If you answer all of those questions correctly, you'll have a good chance. And that's exactly what happened today.
Here comes your top 3 making their way down to the podium for what can only be described as a fantastic day for Formula One.
There we go then, job done. A massive result again. 4 race wins on the bounce, 4 in a row, which is insane. Aiken, unfortunately, P13. Disappointing. Ever since we've re-signed him, he's been really, really poor. He's been so strong all weekend, but his race was really, really awful. When he got damaged, had to pit an extra time, which didn't help. Elsewhere, the Verstappen recovers to P6 after getting damaged early on. Ricciardo P5. I don't really care too much about this. What I want to see is the standings, because we have 5 races to go, and the gap is 115 points. So, what that means is there is 125 points up for grabs. So, in the next race, we can win the championship in Japan. If Verstappen doesn't outscore me by at least 16 points, it's game over. I'm pretty sure. I'll confirm the maths in the comment section if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that is the situation. This is round 11, we have 16 rounds, so 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 5 rounds to go. I think mathematically that is correct. In the Constructors, we increase our lead and we're 84 points clear, which is mental. I can't believe it, but we might actually win both titles and we might win them comfortably. And that's saying something. But anyway guys, it's been an excellent race here today. Boring, but effective. If you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe for more, and I'm back again tomorrow for another episode of my team. Until then, as always, a massive shout out to the members for supporting the content. Finally, check out the 2 videos on screen if you haven't seen them, and I'll see all of you in the next one. Until then, take care, and it's goodbye from me.